Good morning. This is December 2020. This is a little story about letting go. My current position is out here on the beach for a little walkabout, touching sand, touching the water. And I've been listening a bit to Tibetan Buddhism, Ajahn Brahm, Ajahn Brahm, if you want to look him up. I was listening to some stuff on mindfulness yesterday. So I'm out here this morning, and one of the things that was discussed was how you could pick up a glass of water and just take a sip and not think anything about it, or you could be exceptionally mindful while picking up the glass of water, and in that case there is like 100 steps from the initial thought of picking up the water to your hands moving towards the glass, towards feeling the glass, the heaviness of the glass, the sliding of the glass on the table initially, to it raising off the table into gravity and towards your lips, the coldness or maybe even condensation on the outside of the glass, and all of these things before you even get the water, and then eventually you put the glass down. And so this morning I'm out here walking on the beach thinking about the mindfulness of things, and as I was reaching down to touch the sand and to feel the temperature of the water and the wetness of the water on my fingers, I came across a small piece of what turned out to be, it was kind of shiny and pretty looking, and it was about maybe a 1.5-inch staggered piece of black something, and I picked it up from beneath the water, and it's a shingle. And we've had a couple of real bad hurricanes, and it makes sense that there's a small piece of somebody's roof on the in the beach, in the water. So I was feeling the wetness of the shingle and the granulation of the shingle, and trying to be mindful of the shingle, like as in the example of the glass of water. And so I picked up this shingle, and I was walking with it and rubbing it in my hand while I was walking, thinking about the shingle, trying to imagine what the shingle had been through and what the people that have previously owned that shingle, what they have gone through, and this type of thought process, but mostly just like the feeling of the shingle. And it led to maybe some thoughts that I would not have had this morning. So I decided to keep the shingle. I decided to, you know what? It's kind of a reminder. I've got to go on my roof and check my shingles, because I had a little bit of damage from a tree on the said hurricane that probably caused the destruction of this, or maybe not even the destruction, the change of shape and utility of this little piece of shingle. And so anyway, so I'm walking around, I've got this shingle, and then I decided I was going to keep the shingle. Keep it for, as a reminder of me coming out here this morning. Potentially a reminder of me coming out here tomorrow or in the future if I'm driving around in my truck and I see this little piece of shingle on my center console, and kind of like a trigger, like not that I should come out here to the water, but that I must come out here to the water because the shingle was an indication of that, or something, whatever. We can play these games in our minds. So I was walking and doing lunges and stretching and some yoga and some some intentional abdominal tightening exercises as I traverse, and I started heading back towards my vehicle, and I took the piece of shingle out of my pocket and rubbed it on the water and looked at it again, and again put it back in my pocket and decided, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep this. And then started thinking about I can keep this, but at some point I'm going to have to let the shingle go. So is there utility in me keeping the shingle now? If I let the shingle go, if I were to just throw it in the water right now, does that negate the relationship that I just had with the shingle? And does that make the thoughts and the feelings and the sensation and this mindfulness that I just had with the shingle, does it make it less valuable? Does it negate it? And at some point I'm going to have to let the shingle go. So I took it out and I threw it back into the water. And even then I was still contemplating, thinking, well, possibly I could throw it back in the water and then somebody else might find the shingle. And what if I'm here tomorrow? Will I be searching for the shingle? Will the shingle still be there? It may or may not. Should I even look for it tomorrow? Should I spend all of that energy walking these yards, meters, miles, kilometers down the beach looking for the shingle that I don't know exactly where I threw it? Maybe I should just let it go and let the lesson of the shingle remain, but the shingle can go. Somebody else might find it. Most likely when the tide rises, it will get swept out to sea. And I can have gratitude and appreciation for the lesson of the shingle, and glad that I put myself out here this morning to walk on the water's edge and to reach down, to touch the sand and to touch the water at the very exact location, serendipitously, where this little piece of shingle was. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about the idea of finding beauty and the idea of mindfulness and the idea of letting things go, because ultimately, if there's a decision between keeping the shingle and putting it in my truck and driving it around with it and hoping that that's going to create future paths, which it might, it's still probably better to let the shingle go, to not hold on to things, especially physical things, when there's an opportunity to release it. So anyway, that's it. I hope that this little story, in one way or another, is relevant. All right, thank you for watching. Mend yourself, move, educate, nourish, decompress. Michael Gray, over and out. Roger.